Well, hello, and let's dive right into the top 10 major mistakes families make during assisted living research, preventing a smooth move. So, researching assisted living or senior living is a very difficult, time consuming, and emotionally draining. Now, the goal for this training video is to help you learn your options. So, to learn the various types of assisted living or senior living available, help you save time, help you save money, and avoid the top 10 mistakes we're going to talk about. And our goal is for you to be able to imagine being able to make a well-informed decision that just feels right. That's what we want ultimately for you. So imagine how that would feel right now. I know it would feel good, but that's our goal for you, to be able to make an educated decision. Now, this training is for seniors, adult children, family, and friends that are researching assisted or senior living options. Let's dive into the top 10 mistakes. So number one is starting the search without adequate knowledge. So let's go over a couple terms. So you've heard me say assisted living / senior living. So generally those terms are used interchangeably, but they pretty much mean the same thing, but I'm going to try to distinguish the differences. But anytime you hear me saying assisted living or senior living, they're interchangeable. And people in the industry use those, like senior living communities could mean assisted living, but there's various types of assisted living. So just keep in mind that those terms are used interchangeably. Now there's the word facilities. I can't stand the word facilities. I don't want to live in a facility, and I don't want my loved one to move into a facility, but just understand that that's a common term that people use in the industry, but I prefer the term communities. Okay, and then activities of daily living, or ADLs. You're going to hear this when you start doing research as well, but that's basically things like dressing, bathing, toileting, and medication management. So those are examples of what are known as activities of daily living. Now let's give a real high overview of the types of senior living that are available. I know you can read, but we got independent living, assisted living, residential care facilities for the elderly. And it's like, wait a minute, Nate, you just said you don't like the word facilities, but I'm not the one that coined this term. And that is actually a definition of a type of assisted living that we're going to learn about, and I can't change it. So it's going to be facilities. Then there's memory care, skilled nursing, and then continuing care retirement communities, or CCRCs. All right, so starting first on the list is independent living. These are known as senior apartments or cottages, and they're usually detached homes, but it's where a senior can maintain their independence. So they don't need a lot of help at home with activities of daily living, but they're looking for more. They don't want to be doing the yard work, or maybe they don't want to be doing cooking or housekeeping, etc. So, and then they want access to a lot of community activities. So at independent living, there's usually an option to have your housekeeping, food, transportation, and maintenance provided for you. Now, assisted living is help with daily activities, and it's usually a private room, and it's usually like an apartment type living. Now, I say private or semi-private because there is options if people want to share a room with another person, which helps cut down the cost. But usually most people are in a room by themselves. And I'm sure you've driven by them and things like that, but they look like really nice apartment community, or like a nice hotel. There's usually personalized care plans. There's various activities going on and several communal spaces. Now we have residential care facilities for the elderly, or RCFEs. So this is another type of assisted living, but they're in residential homes. So you'd be surprised. I'm willing to bet that even in your neighborhood, unless you live in a rural neighborhood where there's like literally no houses around you, that you have a RCFE in your neighborhood. And I actually have one right around the corner from my house. And, it's fantastic. And you would never know it, honestly. They're a fantastic option for people that are looking for more of a intimate atmosphere and care. So it's same or similar licensing as an assisted living. Now, as far as the care goes, there's usually around 5 to 6 people per RCFE. So you'll have one caregiver one caregiver at a time, usually for all those people, and sometimes two, depending on the time of the day. But it's a chance for those caregivers to really get to know the residents more one-on-one, compared to being at a larger assisted living or senior living community where there could be, hundreds of people or hundreds of residents. And then, there's a large staff of caregivers, so it's just, it's easier to get to know, the caregivers at RCFE, but not one is better than the other. It just depends on, what suits your needs the best. All right, memory care. This is a form of assisted living. So it's going to help, obviously, with the ADLs or activities of daily living, but this is for all people who have Alzheimer's disease, dementia, or some type of cognitive impairment. Now, they offer a secure and supportive environment, and their staff has specialized training. So if you're currently going through this, you understand what I'm saying about secure and supportive. Now, don't get me wrong, all the assisted living options are secure and supportive environment, but with memory care, it's, different because, you have to worry about people wandering and things like that. All right, skilled nursing. So this is also known as nursing homes. And it's unfortunate because a lot of times people, as your loved one ages or you age, and it's like, oh man, I don't want to go into a nursing home. It's like, yeah, they have these terrible thoughts in their head of going to a hospital and stuff, even though you don't need skilled nursing. So skilled nursing care is for complex medical needs, and it offers 24-hour medical care, and it is a hospital-like environment. But this is usually for people, let's say they fell and broke their hip, and they're in the hospital, but they need to be in a more of a rehabilitation center or something like that, where you can be monitored, for a few weeks. So you would most likely go into skilled nursing at that point. And then, if you were considering assisted living, move from there. Next, we have continuing care retirement communities, or CCRCs. So this is a comprehensive spectrum of care services, and the residents can transition as care needs change. And what's great about this is there's no need to relocate. So this is kind of like, the whole enchilada in one type of community, if you want to call it that. So you could start out with even independent or assisted living, but then move into memory care, et cetera, et cetera. So, just one community provides all the care that you're going to need. If you are currently looking at assisted living communities in your area and would like help not only finding the best one for your needs, but also want help saving on monthly expenses, just click on the link pinned in the comments to where we can schedule a call one-on-one and get you the help you need. Now, this is just a kind of a range of costs you can expect. I won't read them all out, but you guys can, check out this slide or pause the video, or take some notes if you like. But the one thing I'll say is at the bottom is CCRCs, there's an entrance fee, and that ranges from $20,000 to $500,000 or more. And then there's monthly fees on top of that. Okay, number 2, not getting professional help. So I guarantee that there's probably a few senior living professional types that you're not aware of that can make a huge difference for you and your search for assisted living. And the first one is a senior living advisor, also known as a senior placement professional. Next is a senior move manager, and then senior specialized real estate agent, and then an estate sale or home content removal professional. But we're going to break each one down right now. So a senior living advisor or senior placement professional is like your one-on-one advisor advocate for finding the right senior living or assisted living community. So they're going to guide individuals through this complex process. They're going to find ideal housing options based on needs, wants, and your budget. And then they're going to help advise you through the contract and sales process. And we're going to dive into this a little more here in a little bit. But what's crazy about this is you have this amazing opportunity and resource, somebody that's going to work for you, and it's usually at no cost to the senior and their family. So I like to compare this to if you're buying a home and you have a real estate agent, because usually the real estate agent that's representing the buyer, they're still going to be compensated by the seller, but the buyer themselves doesn't have to pay anything. So it's kind of the same here. And how these senior living advisors get paid is the community that you move into or your loved one moves into pays them a referral fee, for when that transaction happens. So it's at no cost to you, and it's amazing. But like anything else, it's important to be, with somebody that has good reviews and is ethical and stuff like that. So, they're not just placing somebody somewhere, for a slightly higher referral fee. But this is a totally common practice out there, and most don't know that it exists. So it's like, why wouldn't you take advantage of this? Okay, senior move manager. This is probably another one that you might not know that exists. So this is someone that coordinates every aspect of the move for your loved one. So they'll look at the timeline. They'll do space measuring. So they'll come in and look at, it's like, okay, you're moving from a 2,000 square foot home into a 400 square foot, one room, assisted living room. So they're going to do all that. They're going to decide what you can take, like what kind of furniture would fit if you're going to take any of your own furniture, how much clothes, all your personal items, toiletries, etc. Then they're going to organize, sort, and pack all the belongings. Then come move day, they help move, unpack, and set up on the same day. So when they move you in, they have their team and they'll hang up pictures, they'll make the bed, they put all your clothes away, set up the bathroom, make sure you have all the things in comfort of home, and it's fantastic. So, these people are, usually highly skilled movers and professional organizers that combine their services for senior moving. And this is another very common service in the senior living community profession. Now, another great tip down here is the cost could be paid by the senior living community. Yep. So as a enticement, it's like, hey, that's something you could ask. Or if you're going to work with a senior placement professional, they'll help ask that for you. Okay, senior specialized real estate agent. Real estate agents that understand the unique needs of seniors, has a track record of working with various senior living professionals. Now, this is huge because you want the team all working together and understanding the needs of the senior. They're very involved and support the family with various timelines. And the timelines are huge. So it's like, hey, everybody's working together, so for when the senior's going to move. And it's not, well, just call me when, they moved and we'll go from there. No. There's a lot more the real estate agent could be doing leading up to the move and assisting with the move. And then also, if you're working with the right agent, they'll help cover the cost of certain services like cleaning, house cleaning, getting the windows cleaned. If you do need to pay to have some items removed from the house, I would also ask them to help cover those costs. Okay, estate sale, home content removal professional. They'll help sell and remove all the items in the home. All the family has to do is just identify what they want to keep, works with local charities, and it's completed after the seniors move. So let me tell you, one of the biggest hurdles for seniors when moving is dealing with all the items left behind, but it doesn't have to be, literally. All the senior has to do is identify what they're taking, have the family identify and remove whatever they want from the house, and then they work with such professionals, and either there's enough for an estate sale where they can sell all the items in the home, and if there's not, there's other services that'll just come and clear out all the remaining items and, repurpose, recycle, and donate. But then, if you remember my previous slide about the senior real estate professional, that's the service I was saying. If you're working with the right real estate agent, they'll help pay for all that. Okay, number 3 top mistake, overlooking current and future support needs. So this may seem a little obvious, but it's a very important one. And first I would consult with your healthcare professional, talk with the doctor, have them included in the plan, especially if you're not going to use like a senior living advisor or placement professional, because they could kind of give you an idea or outlook. It's like, hey, this is what type of care we're going to be expecting, the next year or two, et cetera, just so you know that you're at the right place to prevent having to possibly move again in the future. Because let's say you move, you don't want to have to go through this whole process again in 6 months for you or your loved one. Number 4, rushing the decision-making process. Rushing only causes oversights, and they could be big ones. This is a big deal. Moving into assisted living or senior living community, and not having enough time for a basic understanding of the options. And I understand that it's like, listen, dad fell, and falls happen a lot. So I keep using that as an example. Dad fell, broke his hip, and yes, there's a lot of hips that break or broke their leg. And it's like, everything's happening so fast. And I get that, but just being able to pull the power back a little bit and give yourself the grace and the time to get the basic understanding of the options. But after this video, you're going to have a really good understanding, especially if you work with some of the professionals I suggested. It's going to, just blow your mind away how much help it could be. All right, but not enough time to visit several communities in person. And we're going to touch on this in a little bit, but it's so important that you visit the communities in person and possibly multiple times for the ones that you really like. And then, of course, the end result could be disastrous if you're rushing the decision-making process. The last thing you want to do is move somebody in there, and then the house is being sold, and then your loved one's like, I just want to go home. I just want to go home. And it's like, you can't go home now, but it's like, oh my God, we rushed this. So I think you understand what I'm saying on that one. Number 5, ignoring the senior's preferences. So excluding your loved one from the decision-making process. Don't do that, obviously. Unless they don't have the mental capacity to make those decisions, include them. And I know it's not the easiest sometimes working with the elderly. It can be frustrating, for both people involved, but just really try to include them as much as you can because their input is vital. And then remember, it's a team effort and make decisions together when able. All right, so we just talked about this a little bit, but number 6, not visiting the communities in person. Do not rely on the online resources or reviews. You need to go do a physical visit, and it provides such a clearer picture. And then when you're there, interact with the residents, interact with the staff. And then, like I was saying, visit multiple times, to get the feel of it. And, feel for the environment, the quality of care, the atmosphere, and of course the food. Like, let's say everything looked great and you never tested the food. You move in and all your loved ones doing is complaining about how terrible the food is. You can't do anything about it. That's it. So I know this sounds like Captain Obvious here, but it's kind of like, comparing some of the review sites online for various like hotels or something like that. I mean, and then you go up and then, you plan this amazing vacation and it was like, this is nothing like what the picture said. All right. Number 7, we're getting there. The failure to acknowledge the emotional transition. So understand that this is a huge transition, not only for your loved one, but for you. But understand, not wanting to leave the comfort of your current home. I think that's kind of like a big one that a lot of people miss. They're so busy just trying to help their loved one, but they don't really take the time to take a breath, sit back and be like, I don't want to leave my house right now. And I can't even imagine how hard this must be for them. And then just try to put yourself in their shoes. Number 8, not understanding the pricing structures. So these are the 3 pricing structures that you're going to come across. All-inclusive, levels of care, and fee for services. So all-inclusive, I know this all sounds pretty obvious, but they group the costs for monthly rent, meals, housekeeping, laundry, transportation, security, personal care, recreational activities, and nearly everything else the residents need in one single bill. So it's fantastic. But then there's levels of care, and that's also known as tiered pricing. So usually 3 to 4 levels or tiers in which a variety of services are grouped. Now, each tier allows for a certain number of care hours per month, often called points. Now, this is assessed upon moving in and regularly reassessed. So non-care related services in assisted living typically account for about 50 to 75% of an individual's total bill. Now, fee for services. Residents are charged a flat monthly fee for rent or for rent and meals. And then each service provided comes with an additional cost. This is also called or referred to as a la carte pricing. Now there can be hourly assistant fees, usually to the quarter hour, so every 15 minutes, or flat fees for a service. So I like to compare that to, let's say you're going to, they're getting their hair done. That's usually a flat fee, of whatever, X amount. But let's say there's medication management or something like that, where maybe it's not as cut and dry. So then that'll be on the hourly rate. Number 9, not reading the contracts thoroughly. So this can take some time to review and become familiar with. Obviously, contracts are written and they're very hard to understand. But if you take the time to review it, and then if you're going to work with other senior living professionals, they can help you review it as well. But I always suggest for the communities that you're narrowed down to like your top 3 or so, ask for a copy of the contract ahead of time so you can take your time to read it and then compare them to the other contracts that you have. And then have a professional review it. What type of professional? Most aren't going to have an attorney review it. It's not a bad idea if you got one in the family, etc. But if you're working with a senior placement professional or a senior living advisor, have them help you read that and explain things to you. Now, keep in mind, and we're going to touch on this in a minute, that items are negotiable in the contract. And number 10, we made it, guys. Understanding that this is a sales process. So you usually meet with a sales team, and I don't know why these communities do this, but that's their title. It's like sales manager, sales representative. It's like, don't they understand that the public, for the most part, doesn't like the term sales? It's like going to a car dealership. Nobody wants to be sold, but just keep that in mind that it is a sales team, and it's usually no like pressure and stuff like that. They're just touring you and things like that. But just understand it's a sales process, and understand they're a business. They're there to make money, and that's not a bad thing. Obviously they're going to provide good care and things like that, but it is a business. But you as the consumer have leverage and rights. Now, remember, items in the contract are negotiable. So like we were talking about, even things about, hey, could you cover the cost of the move, including a senior move manager? I would ask for that. If there's something else in the contract that, that you're not comfortable with, just talk about it. See if you could remove it or amend it. Okay, so here's the summary of my top 10 mistakes that I just discussed. I won't read those off to you to save you time. But basically right now you have a couple of choices. Either you get professional help or you try to do this on your own. But what I suggest is take action sooner rather than later, regardless of which one you're going to do. If you're going to try to figure this all out on your own, keep getting more information about stuff. Try to read as much as you can. And if you're going to get professionals to help, contact those professionals now just to get the conversation started. You're going to learn so much by that. So if you would like to chat one-on-one about finding the right community and ensuring you are getting the best offerings, just click the link in the pinned comments and I look forward to chatting with you. So this video has had a lot to take in, and I hope you learned a few things to help you make a better decision when choosing the right community, either for yourself or a loved one. Now I'm curious, were you aware of the various fees at assisted living communities? Well, leave a comment below and let me know. Well, I'm Nate Morrissey, and I hope this video helped you get a better understanding of the fees involved and the hot tip that everything is negotiable. So for more great information, check out our other info-packed videos, and I hope you have a great day.